Okay, so overnight this set nice and hard, and I've spent the last hour or two actually threading the twine into the holes that we've made in the boards, as you'll see here at the back as well. This is something that I've done many times with other videos, so if you want to see me going through the motions of this would be, you can maybe check out the reassembly of the 1730s volumes, or indeed the restoration of the 1586 Renaissance volume playlist. So I just went ahead and did it just to avoid being repetitive. Now, I wanted just to... The one thing I have learned is having the right needles can be really useful, and I wanted to introduce this guy. This is a, as you can see, curved needle with a really large eye there. Hopefully the camera can focus on it. And this has been kind of interesting. Now, it clearly has the advantage of being able to sort of loop through the holes relatively easily, but one thing I wanted to point out is I had to learn a whole new way of holding needles. The problem with holding a needle between finger and thumb, or even two fingers and thumb, is it's virtually impossible to stop it doing this, which can be really frustrating. So I was all literally fingers and thumbs actually trying to work out how to use this thing. So eventually I worked out you really need to hold it in 4 fingers, like so, to actually have control of it. Which again just goes to show that the world is far better off for the fact that I never attempted to be a paramedic, because you certainly wouldn't want me giving you stitches. It would be an absolute disaster. So anyway, I'm just going to now thread the last of these pieces here. Again, the other advantage, if you've looked at my other videos, you'll probably have seen me sort of using small amounts of, sort of a thread to actually pull the twine through, and so in effect it was a double step to actually do this. So it's actually really nice to have a needle that has a big enough eye that you can actually just loop it straight through, in one go, and the whole process just becomes a great deal easier and less frustrating. So we're just gonna do the last one here, like so. Okay, so these are now done. I did make a rookie mistake. You probably recall from the earlier video that one of the boards still had this sort of end paper title page attached, plus the sort of subsequent title page. And I was careful not to drill holes through these, but of course what that did was it left these pages attached here. So basically the pages were sitting between the board and the fabric, whereas of course these need to be against the rest of the textbook. So that made no sense. So I did actually separate it, and the good news is, they come away clean as one unit. So these will be relatively easy to reattach in due course. But again, it's just to show that this is a process of continuous learning, and the odd mistake, even with the best planning, the odd mistake will happen. So what I'm now going to do is, I gave some thought to this, and while this is very well attached, there's a general rule, which is the bigger a thing is, the weaker it is, and the more you need to over-engineer. So, an elephant has much bigger bones in relation to the rest of its body than, say, a mouse does. And that's because, materials get structurally weaker as an object gets bigger. So this is a very big book, and I just want to try and make it as resilient as possible to the risk of some kind of accident, where too much force is placed on the boards. So I'm actually going to attach another piece of fabric. I'm just going to put a dollop here, just like this. I'm actually going to attach another piece of fabric to the top of the piece that we already have, just to help. Again, just I really want to just keep this these new ribs in place, because as you'll have seen earlier, there is actually no mechanical connection between the ribs and the thread that binds the text block. So it's all in the glue, and therefore we need to be really careful to make sure that that glue is as robust as possible and as well supported as possible, which is ultimately what the purpose of this fabric is. So I'm going to put this second layer down here and glue this heavily down, and then just leave it for an hour or two to set. And then we will start the process of thinking about leather reattachment, and the real fun of this, which is we're going to do a lot of experimentation and learning with how we can actually use the stamping set to create a really nice label with this leather that we've got. So that's going to be the next step. Once all of this is dry.